Hi John, so this is Screencast2 for CA3, the final iteration. For this video I'm going to go over some of the stuff that's been implemented since CA2. The rest of the game is explained in CA2 and what I've done there, but for this one I'll show what I've added and what I fixed. So to start off with, I'd like to say the pursuer mechanic has been removed from the game. I couldn't get that working. Same with the vault. The vault couldn't not get that working to save to file, so they've been removed. So to start off is the logon. I tried getting it loading from files, so unfortunately the game being game being persistent, this is the only case, as well as the handler for, sorry, the chat filter works the same way, so this isn't persistent. But we have a string with bad words and delimiter. I need to include a .txt in the email, which will have a link. I used the delimiter and this loop. It's taken from source online. So pretty much we're going to parse through all the words and going to parse through all these words, keep them in something called token, which is a substring, and we're going to parse by spaces. I could also do a parse by comma if I wanted to have connections of words that were not allowed. So we're just going to do a check and return false. The same way is implemented in, let's see, no, not here. Here we go. Same thing works in through here. These methods are done like as I said, the exact same way, but I would have liked to have got them working from TextWell. Let's see, more things that have changed. The game loop. So right now we're going to see here, we're going to see boss time with minutes 60 and regen time minutes 2. So let's take a look. The next boss, this is taken in from file, a boss value, so every hour is when these bosses are going to reset. This comes down to the perform boss method. So I've taken the original perform regen method for enemies, and I've added in to iterate through the enemy database. If the type of the iterator is equal to 1, so i.e. a boss, then find all rooms with a missing boss and add it back in. So this works the same for regen. I've added this in for regen to get the type 0, which is all standard enemies, and then spawn those. So just to show these, oops, not here. Sorry, not players, enemies. We can see the enemy template, and now we have type 0 for the standard enemies, and type 1 for bosses. So now there are different types of enemies. So that's something new that's been added to the game there. Thirdly, let's go to PvP attack. So the error before for CA2 was when PTR was returning a null value. Now I'd found out that this was actually from the find player, where I'm searching for the player, and as you can see here, the player not found. That's just for debugging purposes, but I had this returning 0 instead of returning null, and it was giving me an error where it was returning 0 into a type player, and it didn't know what to do if it didn't find the player. So now that it's returning null, it'll work properly. If it is, then return. So now the enemy combat works fine. So now, as long as we're in the arena, we can do some player versus player attacking. Let's go to player attack, or is it in player attack? No, it's going to be an enemy killed. So let's look here. Before, where it would drop the money, what I have it now doing is going through the full database of players, and then going player P1 is equal to the current room, find the player with this iterator's name. So it's going to keep returning back, and if the player, let's see, if the player is in the room at the time that the enemy was killed, then it'll give them the money. So the money gets given to everybody now instead. So you can see the old way commented out there. Now, second way here, see, I changed this value to 1 for testing purposes, so the guarantees that items are always dropped. This to be changed back to 99 to give it a proper low chance of it dropping the items. But for testing purposes, before where it would add the item to the room, now the player who killed it will get the item. So player P would call the pickup item and will pick up the items that were dropped by the bosses. So I thought this added things fairly, like made things a bit fair, a bit more interesting. Yeah, and same as before, the player who killed it will get the enemy. So I'm just gonna have a look through the marking scheme here and see what I can show that's different from CA2. No, let's see, just apart from that, apart from those things, everything else is the same as in CA2, but have been fixed. Have been either fixed or removed. Just go to the train function quick. So yeah, if P newbie, then the player can enter HED, so they can only do this once at the start of the game. If they if it's their first time training, then they can select the race, and that's when it sets P newbie to false. I had to change this just to be a little bit more rudimentary from the original way it was in, just because when I added in this stuff, it wouldn't allow me to enter 1 or 2 and work properly. So other than that, we can set our race. Just adds a little bit more lore, I suppose, to the world, or a little bit more interest for the character. So yeah, anything else for how the game works is contained in the CA2 screencasts. Thanks.